So the prosecution strategy, they have to establish a pattern of racketeering activity. The primary objective of the state is to convince the jury that Sean Combs engaged in a pattern of criminal behavior, fitting the definition of racketeering. This involves demonstrating a series of related criminal acts connected to an ongoing criminal enterprise. They must demonstrate coercion and control. The prosecution seeks to depict Combs as a leader who uses violence and intimidation to maintain control over his business and associates, furthering the alleged racketeering enterprise. Some of the key tactics: characterizing Combs as violent and intimidating. By consistently emphasizing violence and intimidation, the prosecution aims to paint a negative and controlling image of Combs, making him appear more likely to be involved in racketeering. Using Kid Cudi's incident to illustrate a pattern. The prosecution is strategically using Kid Cudi's related incidents, assuming there were multiple or that one incident can be viewed as multifaceted as one instance in a wider pattern of alleged criminal behavior. This is crucial for proving the, quote, pattern element of racketeering. Potentially linking Cassie Ventura's allegations. Though not explicitly stated, it's highly probable that the prosecution will attempt to connect Cassie Ventura's allegations and any other allegations to the same pattern of abuse and control, further solidifying the racketeering claim. If the prosecution has convincing evidence of multiple incidents of violence, intimidation, or other criminal acts connected to Combs and his business, it strengthens the argument for a pattern of racketeering activity. Credible witnesses who can testify to the alleged violence, intimidation, or other related crimes committed by Combs or at his direction can significantly bolster the prosecution's case, and allegations of violence and abuse can have a powerful emotional impact on the jury, making them more receptive to the prosecution's narratives. Now, the prosecution's weaknesses are challenging credibility of witnesses. The defense will likely attempt to discredit the prosecution's witnesses, questioning their motives, consistency, and reliability. They may argue that witnesses are seeking fame, money, or revenge, which is why Kid Cudi was such a great witness. It's his celebrity that strengthens his credibility. They can't say that, oh, he's on the stand trying to get his little 15 minutes of fame, or, oh, he's on the stand because he's wanting to, partake in a civil lawsuit, or no, none of that. He was already famous before this entire incident with Diddy transpired. He was already famous and at the height of his fame while these incidents were occurring. Now, it's also going to be difficult establishing a direct link to racketeering. The prosecution must prove that the alleged violence and intimidation were directly connected to a criminal enterprise and were intended to further its illegal activities. If the link is weak or circumstantial, the racketeering charge may be difficult to prove. Again, Diddy is just one person. So, them trying to prove this is going to be a little bit more difficult than if there was a whole, plethora of criminal individuals to choose from, right? Now, the defense might argue that the incidents are isolated, unrelated events and do not constitute a pattern of racketeering activity. They might attempt to provide alternative explanations for the incidents, painting them as self-defense, misunderstandings, or the actions of rogue individuals. Given Combs' celebrity status, public perception, and potential biases could influence the jury, the defense may argue that the prosecution is unfairly targeting Combs due to his fame. If certain alleged incidents occurred too far in the past, they may be subject to the statute of limitations, making them inadmissible as evidence for the racketeering charge. Now, the prosecution's strategy hinges on building a compelling narrative of Sean Combs as a violent and intimidating figure who uses those tactics to maintain control and advance a criminal enterprise. The success of this strategy will depend on the strength and credibility of the evidence, the ability to establish a clear link between the alleged violence and racketeering activity, and the effectiveness of the defense's counter arguments.